What I like to say is we are the best podcast named Pink Sock Podcast. And with that, let's go to the intro.
Pink Sock Podcast, your go-to destination for a wild and unpredictable ride through the realms of music, comedy, cannabis culture, and beyond. With your host, the fearless, the irreverent, Mike Usenik, presenting eclectic, entertaining, enlightening, surprising content. Join in the fun, push boundaries, challenge conventions, explore the spectrum of human experience. We won't shy away from any topic. Entertainment, exploration, connection. Join us.
Hello, guys, and welcome to another edition of Pink Sock Podcast. It's going to be an exciting one because my autism has been taking me in weird places.
I got chicken fries. It's going to be a good damn podcast.
Bro, you should have seen the look on this poor woman's face. I actually displayed this last night. I went into Books a Million. And as you know, I don't follow a religion, but I respect them all. And I respect whatever you want to believe. But I also collect books of different beliefs. Well, I live in a very conservative neighborhood or area. So I did not expect to find this. However, when I went to the Ohio Valley Mall, they had Anton Szandor LaVey's The Satanic Bible. I needed help finding it, and I felt bad because I walked up to the lady, and I'm like, hey, do you have anything by the philosopher Anton Szandor LaVey? And she was like, how do you spell that? And I'm like, oh, this poor woman don't even know. Like, she's just going to hear the title and think I'm like a cultist because, you know, the negative annotation of that religion or that.
Go Bulls.
Yeah. Well, she gave me a look because I'm like, just look at the Bible. And I felt, because I've never really read it all the way through. I have friends that are LaVeyan Satanists. I have friends that are legitimate Satanists. I have friends that are all religions, Christians, Catholic, all that. But I've never actually sat and read this particular book all the way through. And I made it about halfway through, dude. And like, I think we should all quit judging based on words.
I posted on Facebook today because me and my wife watch Little House on the Prairie all the time.
Uh-huh.
She loves the show. She can quote it, all this stuff. But there's characters in the show that are very bigoted, and it for some reason that just rubs me the wrong way. So I posted on Facebook, the true root of all evil is bigotry. People who want to judge people for being different and demonize them and declare them as evil when you do evil acts and what you consider as good, that shit makes me sick.
Bro, you should have posted the root of all evil is Little House on the Prairie. So there's like no context. You just
Well, what's the show?
like, the root of all evil is just Little House on the Prairie. That's fucking that show. Speaking of satanic, that show is
Starting off hot tonight, baby.
Evil. Hey, we say we don't shy away from any topic. I don't know. I don't see anything as taboo. It just depends on where you're coming from with the topic.
Absolutely. I agree.
And people like to hold on to things that they've been told to believe or told all that, and they get so defensive instead of accepting people that they might think differently. And that comes from a place of not necessarily not agreeing. That comes from a place of fear because you're afraid they might say something that will make you question your own reality.
Weirdly enough, it's funny you say that. Excuse me.
You're good.
It's funny you say about how yeah, air fryers, by the way, changed my life. You mentioned how people hold on to things. Me and my wife were talking about this not too long ago. I had somebody who I went to high school with shoot me a message on Facebook like, "Hey, how you been?" You know, the usual shit.
Yeah.
And he goes, "You still mad at me?" I go, "For what?" And he goes, "Because I was a dick to you in high school." And I was like, "Dude, I'm 30 years old with 2 kids and a whole life. I ain't got time for shit like that to own space in my head."
Yeah. Like, but that is also a form of ego, though. He thinks he's that important that he would still remember. Like, I'm not calling him a bad
Oh,
guy. I'm just saying that is a form of ego because, like, you're like, oh, I'm important. And then when you say that, that kind of squashes that. They're like, oh, no, I never even thought about you. It's fucking-
well, like I said, I'm not naive. I
right.
can forgive, but I'm not going to forget. I'm not stupid enough to hand you the weapon after disarming you. You know what I mean?
I've
But
never.
at the same time, I'm not going to be bitter about shit that happened 15 years ago that I can't do nothing about.
I agree with that because I just had a conversation with somebody. They're like, you should forgive those even if they don't say sorry or whatever. And I'm like, no, no, no. You could let go of the hurt. You can let go of the problem, but you shouldn't forgive somebody unless they are truly sorry.
I think we get that mixed up as a society. We think that forgiving is the same as not holding on to shit. Like,
Yeah. Not
I'm
letting it hurt
sorry,
you.
but if you're a registered sex offender or whatever, you can be forgiven, but that doesn't mean you should be allowed around children. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Exactly.
Eh, so,
And you know what's a really touchy subject? Not to joke about that because that was kind of a weird wording, but a very touchy subject is there are some people. I have a cousin that this happened to. They get wrongfully convicted of something, and then
yeah,
even when the court system finds out that they fucked up, that person still has to serve the sentence because they was found guilty or they pled guilty because they were afraid of serving a longer sentence.
dude, it's supposed to be you're innocent till proven guilty, but in the way this world works and the way the internet works, everything works, you were guilty till proven innocent, and even then, people will still think you did it.
I think we should quit publicizing court cases as they're going on instead of just letting the court case ride out. Quit putting court cases on the fucking news. Like
Agree.
I understand if it's like somebody was found guilty of this really heinous crime in the entertainment industry, but announce that after they have been found guilty or innocent. Don't announce that they were accused.
It, we Man, like I don't even know how to tackle this exactly because we as a society, and I keep saying shit like that, but it's 100% true.
Yes.
We live in a world now where we idolize these people who's like, because you look up to them means they can never do anything wrong. Trump, uh, and excuse me, I had a cough.
Bless you.
Thank you. And I hear these. Oh well, I'm still going to support this person. Did you hear about the creator? Go ahead. You're going to sneeze, I think.
No. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop you right there. Let me
Oh
tell
no,
you,
you're not going to stop me. I'm the best at being me because I'm going to make this country
I
great
got
again.
3 holes in ones this morning. Let me tell you.
You know, I'm just like Jesus. He liked hookers too.
That was good. I'm going to sell you a $50 Bible for $49.99 because I'm a
I'm
good
losing a whole dollar. A whole dollar.
I hate them both, dude. None of them. This whole political shit's stupid. Like it's really dumb. Like
It really is. If this is the best two this country's got, we deserve to be taken over by Canada.
I watched the debate for like a minute, laughing my ass off because I thought I was watching Saturday Night Live. Like that's how bad this shit's gotten. Like I'm like these guys are good. I'm like wait no, this is like actual reality. Like what?
I didn't catch the name of the stand up, but he mentioned like just because you don't support one doesn't mean you support the other.
Oh yeah, they're both.
Can we make that perfectly clear?
To me though, they don't deserve any type of space in my mind. Like I used to and I recently started letting politics get to me. But at the end of the day, whoever they want to win is going to win. What's going to happen is going to happen. Elections are an illusion to keep us all separated. So why not just shut our brains off from the stupidity and be fucking
Yeah.
humans again. Unless you like don't think humans deserve rights, then yeah, I'll call you out on it. But like if just your beliefs are slightly
PETA.
different than mine, but you vote for the other guy, who gives a shit?
Sorry, everybody. I know it's rude to be eating on a podcast. I'm hungry.
You're good, bro. Actually, it doesn't bother me, but I had a therapist explain to me why it is not preferred, even during therapy, to eat during it. And it made sense. I'm not saying he's right or wrong, but he said that when somebody is actively eating, like not like just a little bit of chewing or just finished eating and then talks, but as they're eating, your brain isn't fully focused on the conversation because you're focused on chewing and shit, that
Right.
sometimes you don't get a genuine reaction or a genuine conversation. That's why a lot of people are against it. I don't know how true it
Yeah.
is medically.
You want my genuine reaction? Fuck politics. Fuck Hatui girl. I am shit number one. I spit on Donald Trump. I spit on Biden. Hatui. That is how you do Hatui, you fucking bitch.
Is it bad that like I've gotten to the point in my life now and I'm slowly getting more into that where I don't let shit bother me much anymore? Like it's still a lot of shit bothers me, but I'm trying to like even that
Same.
out. I'm on like a spiritual journey, but like not like a religious sense, like an emotional sense. But
How many times have I messaged you in the middle of the night because it's like, dude, I can't sleep. My brain will not shut off.
my brain doesn't shut off, and it's
Excuse
weird
me.
because I'm trying to get to the point where I view reality as pretty much my reality is slowly becoming a movie, and I need to find entertainment in life instead of the sad and gloomy and viewing things as such. Because like that debate, if you watch it as not reality, that shit's fucking hilarious.
Oh, I was laughing my ass off because neither one of them talked about shit. They didn't talk about anything important. They were just like, boo him like me. Boo him like me.
I'll beat you at golf. Hey, where am I at? Like it was weird. Like
Right.
I love that shit.
But
though.
I try to keep myself out of politics because the way I look at it, would you rather be punched in the face or slapped in the face? No matter what, it's going to hurt.
Dude, I'm voting Vermin Supreme. Are you familiar with this guy?
No, I don't think I am.
You're about ready to be because I keep forgetting I can share my screen now. Vermin Supreme has been a presidential candidate on the ballot. I forget in how many states since I think the 80s or 90s. No. 1987 was when he started as an independent. He's been running for president every single time since. He went from an independent to a libertarian, Republican, Democrat. He's been in every political party. This guy is the king of all politicians because let me bring it up here. And guys,
Oh shit.
this guy is who I like. And it'll make sense when you see him. Like a lot of people don't feel good stereotyping, but trust me with this guy. Hold on. Vermin Supreme has been running for president since 1987. he wears.
He hasn't even hit play yet.
This ain't no. I ain't hitting play. This is just a picture.
Oh,
but Vermin Supreme. I just wanted you to see what this guy looks like. Vermin Supreme is a presidential candidate that you can trust. Let me bring up his website because he does have a website, verminsupreme.com. He is a tyrant you can trust, as he self-proclaims.
You ever see the movie Idiocracy?
Yeah, that's him. That's
yeah, Camacho. Oh God, what's the name of the character in the movie? The guy who plays president. He's like Barack Obama if he did steroids.
Yeah, check it.
Like I'm voting for him. Oh shit!
Here's his website.
I can't get over the fucking shoe, man.
Yeah, he wears a rubber boot on his head. Hey, he does have a video. Let's watch his presidential.
Oh snap!
Wait, no, not.
Oh, hold on. I accidentally fast forwarded. You shouldn't let a stoner in charge of fucking.
Wait, no, not all the people running for president are names you know or faces you've seen before.
Vermin Supreme will take a gun and give you better ones.
Of course, it wouldn't be a New Hampshire primary without my favorite perennial candidate, and again, he is real, Vermin Supreme.
They have all sorts of people listed here who got some votes. Vermin Supreme.
My name is Vermin Supreme.
This platform includes free ponies for all Americans and using zombies to create energy by harnessing the latest in hamster wheel technology. All right.
Vermin Supreme.
Okay.
Ballot.
I'm here today to actually endorse Vermin Supreme on the Democratic ballot.
Fuck yeah.
With your hands up and your pants down. We have you surrounded.
I'm a friendly fascist. I'm a tyrant that you should trust.
He's a presidential candidate college students are showing up for.
I came here for Vermin.
Yes, I'm a politician. I will promise you anything your little electorate heart desires because you are an informed voting public and because I have no intention of keeping any promise that I make.
We are not going to pass this border package. He better not pass funding for Ukraine.
Vote early and vote often. Remember, a vote for Vermin Supreme is a vote completely thrown away.
Here I go.
Run, vermin, run. Run, vermin, run. Run, vermin, run.
That's who I'm voting for, is what I was trying
I
to say.
see why.
He believes in taking a giant hamster wheel, bro, and using renewable electricity because he's going to put zombies on there to stop the zombie apocalypse. He's the only presidential candidate that has a zombie apocalypse plan.
I will say this. He's the only true, honest politician I've ever seen in my life. I will make you any promise you want. I'm not going to keep any of them.
Yeah, I'm a tyrant you can trust, a friendly fascist. You can actually sign up for your free ponies right here.
Oh, shit.
Pony registry, bro. This shit is wild. He has campaign.
Shit.
He's on tour, dude. You want to go see him?
He's got merch?
Yeah, merch, dude. Check us out. Yeah, he has where's his merch shop at? There it is. Campaign merch. Yeah,
We're not even 20 minutes in, and this podcast has got my cheeks hurting. Oh, dear Jesus.
Yeah, look, dude. He has his like little logo with a boot on his head. Oh, do you know why he wears that boot? I do believe.
Tell me, please.
I do
please.
believe he's a time traveling wizard. I think that's what.
And of course he is. Because of course he is.
He looks like one. Yeah, but Vermin Supreme. And then there's another guy. This guy, I love this man. Let's go to YouTube. This guy.
We're getting deep dives in this shit.
Yeah, fuck it. If I get kicked off Facebook for copyright, fuck it. Because I enjoy just watching videos and chilling. Rob Patillo, I do not own rights to any of these. Please check out the original videos. But
We're making that perfectly clear.
yeah, perfectly clear, fair use. Let me bring up the fair use label. Fair.
Look for the fair use label.
Right there, fair use. I didn't even give it any warning. There it is, fair use. But this guy is amazing. Look him up on Spotify. He goes to like rallies and shit and like protests, but he sings to the people. And sometimes he holds up protest signs that have nothing to do with what they're protesting. Like the Westboro Church was out front and was like protesting abortion, and they had like a picture of a fetus, and he was standing next to him, bring up the McRib back sign. He was fucking.
That's great. I can approve of that.
But here he is. He's singing. He's a boy cow. This is his song. I love this shit.
He's a boy cow, can't you see? He has milk for you and me. Milk and slow, milk and sweet. Where the milk comes out his teeth. He's a boy cow, don't you know? Milk and hard and milk and slow. When the milk come out in the sun, we shall milk him in the sun.
In the sun, we will milk him in the sun.
He's a boy cow, he needs milking. Let us milk him in the sun. Let us milk him in the sun.
It's only described what
We're all
the song's about.
together.
Oh, God, this hurts.
Let's have some fun. In
In the sun, we can milk him in the sun.
He's a boy cow, he needs milking. The sun,
I need a metal version of this.
we shall milk him in
Oh, he
the
can
sun.
do it. He has
He's
a
a boy
alter
cow,
ego
he
called.
needs milking. Let us milk him in the
This
sun.
guy was
In the
kind
sun,
of last
in the
fucking
sun,
manager.
we shall milk him in the sun. He's a
was
boy
kind of
cow,
WWE star.
he needs milking. Make the milk come out in the sun. We shall milk him in the sun.
That's gonna be in my head all day now, Bang.
Did you hear what I said?
No, I didn't.
In the sun.
This guy was close friends with China towards the end of her life.
Oh shit.
WWE Superstar China. I do believe he might have been her manager. I could be mistaken on my history on that. Robbie, if you're listening, please correct me. But
We shall milk him in the sun. He's a little dirty boy cow. He needs milking. Let us milk him in the sun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh god damn it! I am not awake enough for this shit
Yeah,
today.
came to me in the desert. Hey, show us your tail. Show us your tail.
They asked him what the song's about.
They want to see the tail.
Hey, what's the meaning of your song?
It's about, sure, you know, you need a jerking off. You know what it is. Everybody needs a good jerking off. You know what I mean?
That's too good.
Like everybody. So
Milk.
did I just sway you to vote for Vermin Supreme? Because he hangs out with that guy.
I maybe.
You know what's sad?
Just maybe.
You know what's sad? Our best choice is the dude with the fucking boot on his head. That's the fucking.
Oh, fuck.
We're out here like, what's the best option for president in the United States? Oh, the fucking time traveling wizard with a boot.
Yeah, we're looking right.
Dude voted. I actually wrote him in the last 2 elections, bro. I'm not kidding. Like, I have been a follower of this man. Like, I would love to meet him. I've reached out to have him on the show. I've reached out to Rob, both great guys. I've never met Vermin, but I've met Rob through Facebook. Great dude.
Cool.
I'd love to have him on. No pressure. You don't have to come on. I'm just saying, like, if you want to come on.
We all know I'm the biggest star you get on this show every week.
Yeah, you're a pretty big star, but like, this show's been kind of dry lately. I need to punch myself so I can start seeing some fucking stars. And I'm just kidding.
Why do you think I do it?
Shit. So is there any chance? I know you said you might be working with a bigger name down the road, but like, is there anyone you want to work with? Like, that's a possibility on the indie scene right now.
Oh god damn it. That's a good question. That is a very good question.
Like, not like WWE's current WWE stars or AEW, but ones that
No, I get it. You're saying guys who are available out there now.
Even big names that are just on the indies. You can name like whoever, just as long as they're not signed to AEW or a major company.
Yeah, now I'm thinking, because now you got me thinking, because I've never put much thought into it, because I've always treated bookings more like, okay, I'm here. What you got me doing, boss? You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you had to choose.
If I had to, if a gun to my head had to, Matt Riddle seems like he'd be a fun guy to do something with.
That'd be a good match.
I know Dijak just got on to the indie scene and he's making some waves, or at least trying to.
See, I don't know much about modern wrestling, so you're teaching me a lot. That's I know Matt Riddle because he was around a few years ago when I was watching again.
Right. The thing is, since AEW launched, the indie scene, when it comes to like all these guys are big stars on the indies, there's not a lot of them left because a lot of them get scooped up pretty freaking quickly by the bigger companies now.
And it
because
doesn't
go ahead.
And it doesn't help that now there used to be 4 big wrestling companies up until recently when AEW started. Now you have WWE pretty much is partnered with Impact, and AEW owns ROH. So like now you only have 2 major companies and just 2 littler companies.
Like you can, some people can still claim the NWA is a bigger deal when it comes to a bigger independent, but at the same time, it's like when I think, maybe it's just because of the time I grew up, and like when I think of like big indie stars, I think of guys who came out of like Ring of Honor, like Kevin Steen, aka Kevin Owens, and shit like that. So anybody to that caliber, it's hard for me to name because they've all been kind of scooped up fairly quickly by the bigger places.
Fair. So I will go one step further, and there is a thing that I wanted to talk about that I forgot to bring up. I almost cried watching wrestling recently, and that's hard to do.
Really?
I
Was it
grew
the
up.
Bo Dallas stuff?
No, it goes deeper than that. It goes to my childhood. Growing up, I was big into like ECW and shit, and that's when I was introduced to Dusty Rhodes. I wasn't introduced to the American Dream of NWA. I was introduced to Steve Corino versus Dusty Rhodes in a bull rope match.
Nice,
This
nice.
guy is really good for his age because at the time he was retirement age. So to me, at like 12, 13,
What's that in
he was old.
wrestling?
But when I was like 13, 12, that was old to me.
True.
So I'm like, I wonder what else he did. So I started going down the rabbit hole and I ran across a little factoid about Dusty that was really upsetting. He was a huge name back in the day. So much of a big name that he went to Madison Square Garden and fought superstar Billy Graham for the WWF title. And at the time, Dusty had already been NWA champion. So that would have been another major title under his belt. Well, WWF let him win. They gave him the belt. He held it up. And then they're like, oh, due to it being out of count out.
There was something that made the win not for the title. It's literally called the Dusty finish because they were some of his favorite things to use. Was like, oh, you won, but you didn't win.
Yeah, with that particular night, though, it was because superstar Billy Graham lost due to count out. And a championship can't trade hands, which is weird because WWF before that night, championships was lost on a count out, pinfall, or submission. Or disqualification. That's the old NWA rules. So that's pretty much how WWE ran because they didn't use weapons much back then in WWF.
No, hardcore wrestling wasn't really a thing.
No, it wasn't. The worst they would do is hit your head off the turnbuckle. And that was an old superstar Billy Graham trick where he would hit his head off the turnbuckle and bust himself open.
Yep. A lot of guys still do stuff like that, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
They do, but Superstar's arguably the first.
Oh, speaking of busting open, Tyler Grayson, get ready for the beating of your life tomorrow at the Charleroi Market House, 6 p.m., Charleroi, Pennsylvania. Sorry, had to do cheap plug.
I feel bad for him because you're a crazy motherfucker. You got like, I don't know, you're nuts. You're nuttier than a fucking pet squirrel. That's what.
I try to be.
I love it, dude. I love it, dude. But no, what made me cry, shed a tear, and going back to that was due to that happening. Cody Rhodes came out.
Yeah, I saw the video.
And Cody was like, did you watch the whole rant? Because WWE, I don't think, posted the whole rant. They just posted him holding up the belt.
No, I saw the whole thing where he was on the mic talking about what it meant to be in Madison Square Garden as the champion and all the whole deal.
The thing that made me shed a little bit was he's like, my dad never got to hold this, but I'm going to. And he got the original WWF championship. Does that mean but
it was a replica of it. It's not the actual ring use belt, but it is the same design that his dad would have won back then.
And some guy tried disputing with me because I'm like, no, I became a hardcore fan whenever all that, like I started looking back and I remember he said, but the championship Dusty won was green. No.
Oh.
The championship superstar Billy Graham won was green. It changed to red during Billy Graham's run.
Was it green? Because I know Hogan won what was called the Big Green Belt at one point. That was the one Hogan won and kicked off Hulkamania in. So
Hogan had the green belt that he won off Sheik. It transferred over to the one that, the
Hogan 85, 86,
Yeah, before that, though, the belt was what Dusty held up. It was the WWF Championship. It was the one
with the red and the eagle and the whole deal.
But it started off, I believe, during transition to Billy Graham, it was green, then it became red, and then it became what Hulk Hogan held eventually.
See, I'd have to check records and stuff, like pictures and stuff from that time, because I know that the original Intercontinental title, or at least one of the original Intercontinental titles, was a green strap. So I'd have to look it up. I really would.
Well, I can just look up the history of WWF Championship designs.
Because I know the very, very first one was an old U.S. title that somebody had in their bag, and they were like, "Here, we need a belt," and that's what they used.
The history of the WWE Championship. I'm trying to look it up. It's kind of a shady history because there was championship reigns.
It gets confusing. It gets very confusing.
Antonio, what's his name? That very famous Antonio Inoki. He won.
Yeah.
He won the belt, but he didn't because it was in Japan.
Right, like he won it, but WWF never recognized him as champion. They did the same thing to Andre too, because technically Andre won the belt and then surrendered it to Ted DiBiase, but I don't think that's recognized as a championship reign.
Yeah, Antonio's was.
I might be wrong.
Okay, the original WWE Championship. Jesus Christ, Netley. I didn't know like wrestling dated like what we know of pro wrestling dated that far back, but okay.
Oh yeah.
May 4th, 1905, the United States officially recognized the first ever World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship. That's hard to say. The World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship, WHWC, as crowning the best catch as can wrestler. George Hackenschmidt was the first champion in London.
Yeah, he was recognized as the first official world champion of professional wrestling with George Hackenschmidt.
That was back during the circus days, wasn't it?
I think it was a little after circus days. It kind of was. It wasn't to the degree we have it now, obviously.
Bro. But some of the names of these wrestlers, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the names
go ahead.
Wrestlers is fucking stupid. Like, it's what you would expect their names to be from that era. Like, you say, coming on the aisle is Edge Strangler Lewis.
The Rock does a great promo, and he goes, "Who the hell is Hoovy Toot?" Wrestling names can get weird, bro. They really can.
So I'm sorry. What was your thought you were on? I kind of interrupted.
I completely forget.
But Jack Wright, if you're listening to this, come on the show. I sent you the link. Unless you're not able to, that's fine too. I didn't check the comments. It'd help if I did. They're not even coming through. But these
we're professionals, folks.
We are. I'm just high. Now, the first ever NWA championship has been debated amongst fans, but it is not the design they've been using for the last 50 years.
It is not.
It is it's a weird fucking design. It's a round design that has a weird heart thing at the bottom, a championship ring in the middle, and then a crown on top. And it's fucking weird. All the gold on it's much bigger than the strap.
Yeah, I know a lot of people think that the 10 pounds of gold, aka the Dome Globe NWA title, is the original one, and it isn't. It is, however, the most known design for the NWA World title. That and the big gold belt.
Yeah, because, big gold belt's arguably not NWA. That was WCW.
Nope, that was NWA. Ric Flair introduced it as the NWA World title. It was when
Flair's belt.
It was no, because it wasn't Flair's belt. It was given to Flair by the. Okay, so let's dig into a little bit of history here. The NWA was ran by a committee. Basically, all the promoters in the country had some say in who the world champion would be. They ordered the big gold belt. It was completely manufactured as a new thing. It was given to Flair as the NWA title. Mm-hmm. The thing was, and I know what you're thinking, is when he jumped to WWF with it at one point, that was because they owed him a down deposit on the belt that they refused to pay him back for. Because back in the day, that's what you did. If you were the champion, even WWF did this. If they were planning on having you as champion, you would write a check out to the company, like $25,000, whatever the case may be, and you would get the belt. And then when you lost the belt, you would get the money back.
Just in case you leave the company with the belt.
Exactly.
So they can just have that money to buy a new belt.
In a way, but when Flair left, that's why Flair left with the big gold, because in his mind, they never paid me back my deposit for the belt, so it's mine.
Can we admire, though, that that's like very ahead of its time, and that storyline was fucking amazing, even by today's standards. Ric Flair
Yeah.
shows up on the biggest at the time wrestling company
With the other company's belt.
before the Monday Night Wars.
Yeah,
Way before.
and
the
that's
Monday Night
nuts.
Wars.
That is nuts to think about. It really is.
Yeah, because this happened 7 years before the Monday Night Wars.
Yep. It happened many years before the Monday Night
Actually,
Wars.
it happened in 92, right? Was when Flair did all that shit.
Yeah, because Flair then won the WWF title in the 93 Rumble, if I'm not mistaken.
So that happened because the Monday Night Wars kicked off in 96.
96.
So it was about 4 years.
4 years,
So
give or take.
that was crazy that didn't start the war. Maybe it did.
Yeah.
Maybe Bischoff was like, fuck them guys for doing that. Let's
Dude, Bischoff wasn't even in charge at that point. It was somebody completely different.
Well, I thought it was Bischoff that started the Monday Night Wars because he said, fuck them guys.
He was the one who wanted to go head to head with Vince and all them. But at the time that we're talking about, when Flair showed up on WWF with the belt,
I went to a different topic. Sorry.
Oh, it's fine. Different. Let's be honest. WCW, one of their biggest problems was no solid leadership. Every time they try to commit themselves to one person's vision, before you know it, now we're switching gears, and now we got to do this guy's idea of what this is, and it can cause a lot of confusion if your troops don't know who's in charge.
Between that and they had too many wrestlers with contracts that said I get to choose if I win or not.
Oh, absolutely. Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior. So many people had it in their deals that like they had creative control. And
you know who else did, but they never used it? Allegedly, they never used it. Hogan. No, I'm just kidding. Randy Savage.
Yeah, please.
Randy Savage. Randy Savage had the same contract, but if you watch his matches, he was putting a lot of guys over. He was arguably the guy that got DDP as big as he was.
100% true. Even Paige will say there's like 3 or 4 people he can dedicate his entire career to, and that's like Dusty, Jake the Snake, and Macho Man.
Because at that time, the Diamond Cutter was starting to get big, but like he was only beating jobbers with it at that time. So he was like having all these jobbers, and then he wrestles the fucking man at the time, Macho Man Randy Savage. He hits him with the cutter, and people are like, oh, this is where the kick out's going to be. And it was a 3 count.
Can we all agree that if it wasn't for fucking Hulk Hogan always keeping his red and yellow ass above everybody, that Macho Man could have overtaken him as the guy of the 80s?
I believe that. And I also believe that it should have been Macho Man Randy Savage versus Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3.
I don't know about that much.
But
I will say I would. Go ahead.
Because you might not have the body slam, but you have the perfect little guy, even though Macho Man's about the same size as Hogan, but he's always viewed as a little guy for some reason.
I know, I don't get that.
Have him, well, Hogan was more buff, but towards the end, so was Savage. But have him versus Andre, because Hogan didn't really need the push. He was already viewed as the champion. Savage beating Andre at the last Mania Andre wrestles at?
Andre wrestled 6 years after he died, before he died.
Wrestle.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess you could say that because he did do I think his last WrestleMania appearance was a tag match, wasn't it? I'd have to look it up.
It was, but at that time, when I say wrestled, I mean one-on-one match, and actually in the ring for a significant amount of time. Because
I would have preferred Macho over Ultimate Warrior, to be honest with you. If Macho would have gotten a big rocket to him, and I think he could have been way bigger than Hogan, and he had more of a sense of like, hey, I got to make people on my way up.
I'm going to say the controversial thing.
Uh-oh.
No disrespect to the dead. Warrior was a great character.
True.
Warrior was a great talker. Warrior, well, he made you think because you don't know what the fuck he's saying. But
you legit thought he was this wild man out of his mind. Absolutely. Doesn't mean it didn't make him a good talker. It just meant like, this dude's psycho. I want to see what he's doing.
But to finish my thought, he had no reason being in a wrestling ring, let alone winning the big title. He had no business. That man should have been the manager of the Mega Powers, and that's it. That's what they should have got the Mega Powers back together, and he should have just been their manager. Like this.
The thing with Warrior, and again, as you said, no disrespect to a Hall of Famer who's inspired millions and millions of people, has gotten places I can only dream of in this business. But at the same time, he was a looks guy, not so much an in-ring guy. Like, he had a hell of a look, a hell of a character, a hell of an energy and aura about him, but that got him only so far. And then once you tried to get him past that point, the whole thing kind of fell apart. You saw his ego. You saw the shit that he would pull off. For crying out loud, you have to even wonder, look at what he did with Hogan in WCW. Like, it's not hard to really see that past the character shit, he was garbage in the ring. And
when they started doing that podcast and having those racist rants and shit.
Well, yeah, because queering doesn't work. Well, dude, you're kind of, but yet one of the greatest memes you'll ever find is Hogan blowing him. So I saw you post that, by the way, on Facebook.
It was the other way around. It was him blowing Hogan, but it was.
I could have sworn it was him having Hogan down for the. I might be wrong.
Later in the match, I had this scene of him actually. It was Hogan holding him because he's doing that face that he does.
Yeah,
like, blew a load. But like, one of the worst matches I've ever seen in my life. Well, not one of them, but like top 10 is Warrior Hogan in WCW. That match was an atrocity.
That was it. It was an abortion times 3.
Like that, like Finger Poke of Doom was better. That was a much better.
Yeah, because at least they were trying to tell a story with that. Like with this, there was just Hogan wanting his win back from Warrior.
Goldberg versus Bret Hart was a better match. That was a fucked up joke. Sorry.
Yeah, a little bit.
Sorry, Bret. If you're listening to this, you're not, but I'm sorry. It's a little dark. I didn't.
Well, his color is pink and black, bro. You better watch. He might sue you.
Dude, I love Bret though. I'm not gonna lie. I'm.
Bret Hart was a better in-ring wrestler than Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels was a better character, and he could go in the ring, absolutely. But I feel like Bret, when it comes to basics and getting actual in-ring ability, I think Bret had him.
We don't have enough people that have technical ability as world champion throughout the wrestling history.
Okay, I don't mean to sound like Jim Cornette here, but one thing I miss in wrestling, I saw someone post about this, and this is my honest opinion on it.
Fuck hardcore wrestling. Fuck. Sorry.
No, is nobody, like back in the day, you watch a DDT or a punch to the face, and you can get 5 minutes of the guy like, did he just break my fucking nose?
Yeah.
Now a guy gets this super duper flippy shit off the fucking top of cage, whatever, gets right back up like nothing happened.
Speaking of getting up, nothing happened.
This shit drives me nuts.
Another worst match on my top 10, because you just brought up this memory. Pretending like a move never happened. Okay. There was this hot new wrestler. That's not me hitting on him. He was just hot at the time. He was big. He was becoming big.
Oh no, if you find someone sexy, I'm not going to judge nobody here.
Oh no, it's just not this particular person. But we had the British or whatever the fuck he was at the time, Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Yes. Okay.
He wrestled Ultimate Warrior, and his finishing move was going to be this devastating
the pedigree.
And they were booking it as this huge, strong move. Well, it was Triple H versus Ultimate Warrior. Triple H hit it early on in the match, and Warrior got up like nothing happened.
Yep, and depending on which Triple H you talk to, whether it's the early 2000s or more recently. If the early 2000s Triple H called him a selfish prick, the current Triple H would say it was an honor just to be in the ring with him. So I'm never getting tired of the.
He's become like the new Shawn Michaels. Like, no disrespect, but like a lot of them guys completely change over time, which is fine. I mean, we all should evolve as humans.
We all grow. We all grow.
But at least admit
Exactly.
you fucked up and be like, hey, I shouldn't have said that in that interview. That's not how I actually felt. I was just bitter.
I'll give him this. He's really hitting all the marks when it comes to wrestling. Like the current product, it's getting hot again.
But between you and me, though, before we start praising the man, because I do love what he's doing, and I would love to start praising him, but we can't deny the fact. You can't deny the fact that would he really be saying those things if Warrior was still alive?
Hard to say. Hard to say.
Or does he say those things because he felt guilty for previous things, but he still feels that way, but he just don't want to say it?
Or is he just pushing company line? Like, hey, Warrior's one of our biggest merchandise guys. It would look bad if one of our heads of company is saying all this horrible shit about it.
Yeah. Instead of saying no comment, he's just like, well, he's great. But does he really feel that way?
Why is that,
what I hate. I hate when people lie about how they feel about somebody just because of like business.
Right. I'm not a fan of that either. I feel like it's one thing to go like, hey, personally, I might not have cared for him, but he did this, this, and this, and we can appreciate that. But they don't even do that.
No.
They just straight up, oh, yeah, he's great.
Yeah, it was great working with him. Bro, you said like a few years ago that he was shit working with.
Right. That's what I mean. So it's the same reason I don't like politics. A lot of diarrhea coming out the other end, if you know what I mean.
Dude, I love diarrhea. Have you? No, I don't. That was fucking weird. That was my tism. Like, it sounded the way I said that though with confidence. That was great. I said it like it's something I drink every morning. Like, oh, I love diarrhea. A good old cup in the morning. Like, no, that's not what humans say.
Is that what you call coffee? All right.
I do call it a cup of diarrhea because when I drink it, eventually it goes right through me. Like everything I ate the past week comes out.
Yeah, I've had that problem today. A little too much of the caffeine myself.
I got the cleanest colon in the country, bro. That's gonna be my that's my campaign slogan. The cleanest colon in the country. By the way, back to wrestling though.
When you say on the Pink Stock podcast, we will go anywhere and everywhere with these conversations, you are 100% true, my friend.
Yeah, and I'm not afraid to like. I do the disclaimer because like I'm not coming from a place of hate. Like ever when I joke shit, sometimes things just come out of my mouth when I think they might be funny, and then my brain doesn't have that delete button like Facebook does.
Yeah.
So like I'm like, well, fuck, I said that, but I didn't mean it the way it came out.
Taste of foot.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Tasting my own foot in my mouth, but whatever. Do you want to see the first ever NWA championship?
Oh, sure. Let's see this thing.
It was actually taken from Lou Thez. It was Lou Thez's first championship.
All right, let's take a look at this thing.
Once it pops up, oh, there it is. See, that's the first ever.
Oh my gosh, I was half thinking that he was going to be pulling a Shawn Michaels there for a second.
Yeah, that is Lou Thez. That is before Shawn Michaels. That's predated. That's Lou Thez.
But if you know the picture I'm talking about, like he's at least not in a Speedo.
Lou Thez's balls are almost hanging out, bro. Like those are. Why are you wearing shorts that short, but it's up to your belly button? Like he's wearing his shorts really high. Like them were like pants when he started. Now they're shorty shorts. Like, what are you doing? Anyway, that's the first.
But we were talking. Yeah, very old school. I dig it.
Very small, but what I noticed about the older championships, it's weird because what we're used to is the championship didn't fit on the strap very like evenly. They hung over the strap.
Yeah, and you see that with old boxing belts too.
Yeah, like it's weird to see now because we're accustomed, like they actually put it on leather belts and they just put big ass fucking buckles on them. We're accustomed to the straps that are bigger.
Yep.
And that's mind blowing. I'm kind of ignoring the fact this man's half naked. But
and he looks like your dad sending you nudes. Like, let's be honest. It's everybody's dad, the bald hair, the hairy chest.
My man was like 28 when this photo was taken. I'm just kidding.
He looks 45. I won't lie.
He looks 45, but that's like 1980s 28. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's 1980s 45. So he looks a lot worse.
Luthez actually, like that era of him, I loved him. That was when he was still active. But
Yep.
the more I look at this photo, the more questions I have.
Like why is he just standing on? What in the fuck is he even standing on?
My first thought when I saw this photo as a wrestling fan, I'm like, is that championship upside down? And like I Googled it, and no, he's holding it right side up. There's a crown on top. But then I'm like, why is he barefoot and got a piece of tape on his fucking foot? Why is
I just noticed that.
He's half naked with a piece of tape on his foot.
What the fuck is he standing on? Is that a boat?
A sailboat, but it's on the beach, not even near the water.
That's what I mean. It's like he looks like, oh, up, I'm stranded. Might as well get my promo shots in.
He looks like that dude from Gilligan's Island. He looks like now this is the tale of a.
Yeah, he's headlocking natives and putting them in figure fours.
Whenever he turns, that's like his turnaround scene where he like turns around and like smiles into the camera, like the old campy, like old TV shows, and he's holding his belt. But what's this piece of my fucking? I don't have OCD, but I do now. What's that piece of tape on his fucking foot? I just want to like rip it off. Like what is
right? Well, funny thing is I had a match and I had removed my wrist tape at one point during the match, and I didn't realize this. It had stuck to the back of me, so it looked like I had toilet paper hanging off the back of my tights.
That is hilarious, dude. It probably was. You're just telling us that it's not. Like, avoid that. But no, let's just keep questioning Luthez because that's the meaning of life.
Yeah.
What's up with his tan? Like, his shoulders aren't tan. It's kind of... His arms are tan, but you can tell he's wearing a wife beater before this, but not very much.
Yeah. All right, son, if you play your cards right and do all your chores, this boat and this championship could be yours.
He doesn't look like a professional wrestler by today's
He looks
standards.
like someone's dad.
He looks like somebody's creepy uncle who came over to Naked Wrestle. Like, that's what he looks like.
He doesn't have a mustache.
Oh, he would have.
If he had the mustache, he'd be 100% right.
Didn't Luthez at one time have a mustache?
I can't remember. I don't think. I think that was the general look. But if you notice, a lot of guys look like that. Like, Greg Gagne was another one, had the cul-de-sac going deal.
This guy, okay, this is fucking hilarious. I think he shaved it off, but like, this man looks guilty. But
yeah, he looks like a supervillain. He does. He looks like a supervillain.
He runs an underground sex cult. Like, that's what
he looks like. He looks like he shits on ladies' heads.
He looks like the Monopoly guy. Like he looks
like the Monopoly guy went bankrupt.
He looks like Ron Jeremy if like porn made as much money as him.
He looks like he gave himself a dirty Sanchez.
That mustache looks like he could tear it off and be like, "All right, I'm the real villain," like from Scooby-Doo.
I did it. That's good shit.
It was me all along, Austin.
He looks like the guy your mom was banging in high school but was afraid to tell you about.
I'm going to come out and say the weird thing. He looks like the guy that like women our age date because he has good drugs.
Oh, hell yeah. Definitely.
He looks like the last mafia boss, like in Rush Hour. He looks
He looks like he can't get it up without seeing something extremely fucked up.
He looks like he's looking at something extremely fucked up.
Yeah. He's hard right now in this picture. You don't know it, but then...
You know what's really fucked up? He's being interviewed by Stephanie in that photo. I'm just kidding. He's not, but that'd be great.
Hey, he wanted to push an incest angle, okay? Like, don't put it past him.
He looks like he's ready to push somebody off the edge of a bridge. Like, he
looks like he looks like he'd fuck your girlfriend and then pay you the money to shut the fuck up. This podcast is just us ripping on random pictures.
Yeah, that's what's become. We're just roasting random pictures of celebrities. What he looks like to me is he looks kind of like the Sonic character, Mr. Eggman, but like turned into a person.
No, Jim Carrey looks better.
Yeah, but he looks like him aged. Like what he would look like now, like when Sonic was released up to now. Like he looks like what he would look like.
He has a look on his face like, yep, I shit myself. What's your point?
So I'm not going to name this guy by names because he could probably sue me because you know how they get. But there's this minister that I found online who is missing his arms and legs. Now, my mom's like, he's a great guy, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, but he doesn't follow a right-hand path.
That's fucked up.
He only trusts in the hand of God. He he walks in the right direction. Like,
do you think people look at him and go, "You ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan"?
Does he enter to "Let's keep rolling, rolling, rolling"? They roll him out.
We're going to hell for that, just so you know.
They roll him out there like a used carpet. He's like that fucking that doll that you like punch it and it won't stay down. He's like a weeble wobble. You roll him out.
He wibbles in, he wobbles in, he don't. Well,
I don't know. I bet you he ain't gonna write.
He is mind quad.
I bet you he ain't gonna write any books.
Well, like that maybe.
He fucking puts the pen in his. I've seen people do that. Like I'm not making.
I know.
I'm not making fun. I'm just laughing at the situation, but I've seen people do that. This guy was fucking great at it. He would put the pen in his mouth and he would write faster than I can because I ain't fucking wrote since high school.
You just reminded me of this. So people on here before have known that I preached about March being Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month.
Yes.
And how June was Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Apparently, July is Disability Awareness Month. Like, if you are someone with a disability.
Well, now you make me feel like an asshole. I apologize. I apologize for making fun of the armless, legless preacher. I was just joking.
Everybody give him a hand. Give him a hand because he don't got any of his own. So.
You know what? I always thought when people say that some woman gave a guy the clap, I just thought the sex was really good and she was, but no, that just means a disease. I had to do it.
All right. So have you been keeping track of Joe Hendry?
This motherfucker.
Do you believe in Joe Hendry?
He has 2 first names. Of course, I believe he exists. Who is he?
Oh, you don't know about this?
No, fuck.
Okay, so this is a guy who is currently under contract with TNA Wrestling.
Joe
Hendry is his name. His theme music has completely blown up the internet. And you say his name and he will appear. I believe in Joe Hendry. You have to clap every time. So
also he gives everybody the clap.
Exactly.
So he's the next Al Snow.
But they love him in London, in Paris, in Mexico, in Scotland, in Canada. Like, they love him everywhere. He's Joe Hendry.
He gives the clap all over the globe, bro. Like,
dude, and the best part is he wrote his own theme music. And, like, he wrote and performed his own music. And right now, like, you can't go online. I can't get on Facebook or anywhere without seeing one person making a comment about his music or making a meme out of him. It's great.
He's giving motherfuckers the clap, dude. That is cool.
Dude, like we can do it. If you want to play it and you want to risk saying his name, pull it up, dude.
If
Trust me.
Up on here, dude, I'll interview him. I don't give a shit.
Type it in.
So a friend of mine, she's into like witchcraft and shit, and she's like, "How come you never got into it?" I'm like, "Because I don't speak that language, dude. Like I'll try to like summon something and end up like with micro penis, and I'm like, I don't need it any smaller than it already is. Like I'm not gonna.
It's Lingardia Leviosa.
Yeah,
Leviosa.
Okay, Joe Hendricks, Jimi Hendrix.
Joe Hendry.
Oh.
Joe Hendry.
Oh, I thought you said Jimi Hendrix. Oh, he looks like Kerwin White. Like he looks.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, dude, and like. like I said, this shit's great. Like, he blew up on the indies making parody songs. Anytime he wrestled somebody, he would make a parody song. It's fucking great.
Okay, let's listen to his theme song. Oh, he has an actual like video.
Yep.
Name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. Cause they love London and Paris and Tokyo, America, Scotland and Canada and Mexico. They say I believe.
Wait for it.
Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry.
He's good though. Is that him playing?
I believe so.
He's good.
Wave your hands from side to side and say,
Your heart out, Sean.
oh, I believe in Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry is so prestigious. Wave your hands from side to side.
I'm sorry, I can't help myself.
Oh, I believe in Joe Hendry. In Joe Hendry and the prestigious world.
Dude, I'm telling you, when you get a chance, because I think I've sent you a couple of his parody songs before. When you get a chance on your own time, listen to him because he's funny.
Dude, I gotta say though, like that is fucking like they're sitting on money with that. Like,
Yeah, like he just did a big interview talking about, because he hasn't been actually wrestling like he started, I believe he said in like 2013, so he hasn't been doing it like for the last 10 years or so. He said he used to be a musician and he just kind of took a lot of the stuff he knew from music and put it into wrestling. So the man's a genius in that regard.
that is he a good wrestler though?
Yes, he is. I've been watching him since, and this, I'm dating myself a little bit to like the early 2010s, but there was a promotion out of the UK called What Culture Pro Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And he went by the local
YouTube channel,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he went by the ring name. He was the local hero, Joe Hendry, and his whole shtick was he would write these parody songs about the people he would be wrestling against, and they're freaking hilarious.
Kind of like The Rock used to do back in the day.
Yeah, in a way. Oh, dude, a rock concert with Joe Hendry would be fucking amazing.
You gotta add. What was his name? I'm drawing a blank. The dude that came out with the guitar. He featured. With,
Elias.
Yeah, Elias.
Like there was one song he did. You know, Creed, like "Take Me Higher," that song.
Yeah.
He made a whole parody towards the guy, and it was, "Could you please get fired?" It was beautiful. He's fucking hilarious.
So, dude, I'm reading the comments.
I think it's right there, actually.
I'm reading two comments, and there's this one. There are only two types of people in this world. One, those who believe in Joe Hendry, and two, those who will believe in Joe Hendry.
Amen. Yeah, dude, click on that one right there. I think that's the "Can you please get fired" one that I was talking about just a second ago. Top of the list, I think, with the guitar.
Believe in Joe Hendry. Let us know anyone here after NXT. Oh, he went to NXT, is what you were saying?
Yeah, he showed up after they started doing the crossover deals. He was one of the names that they had show up from TNA.
2014, believe in the Shield. 2024, believe in Joe Hendry.
Yep. Like I said, the fact that he's blown up the way he has is great, because you love seeing talented people get a shot at the big time, like legitimately. So, you know, definitely happy for him. Like, I'm so happy to see his shit blowing up like it is, and I can't wait to see where he goes with all of this. Did you know his song was actually like number 4 on Spotify? Like, he beat Taylor Swift.
So, bro, this one's a good one. They kind of messed up the wording, so I'm going to change a little bit. We walked with Elias to run so that we could believe in Joe Hendry.
Oh shit!
These are fucking great comments, dude. These fucking.
I'm gonna see. We need the Honky Tonk Man to do another single with Joe Hendry.
2014, Bo leaving Bo Dallas. 2024, believe in Joe Hendry.
Right now, Bo Dallas believes in murdering people. So
damn, they're like back with the Manson cult shit. That's fucking.
And I love it. I love every bit of that.
Isn't that really pulling inspiration from? Is that in the ministry?
Well, they pulled most of this. Is a lot of it is Bray Wyatt's like shtick, like what he developed and stuff he was planning on doing.
I meant, didn't Bray take the Wyatt family like as a kind of an inspiration from like those kind of culty tag teams?
Not really. His thing was from a wrestler. His whole shtick was originally done by Dan Spivey as Waylon Mercy, who was I
remember that.
Which was based off of a character in Cape Fear.
Yeah. I remember.
So, with Spivey's blessing, he lifted that whole gimmick for Bray Wyatt, and then, of course, the traditional culty stuff happened, and then he flipped the script with all the Fiend stuff, and that stuff was great. And I was somebody when I first started seeing like the puppets and shit, I'm like, what in the world is this? This ain't gonna work. There's no way this goofy shit's gonna work. And then it's like, oh no, it works. It works very well.
Bro, the Wyatt family was great, but you know what tag team is very underrated though?
Huh.
The Deleter of Worlds.
Dude, so I feel like the Bray Wyatt, Matt Hardy program could have been so much more.
Oh,
it could have been a beautiful symphony of madness like nothing we have ever seen. But unfortunately, Vince didn't get it.
And it's sad because he did a song called Will Ospreay Can Fly. Will Ospreay Can Fly.
Dude, like I said, he's you're talking Joe Hendry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, like he's done so many parodies. I just found one where he did a Pokemon parody where he's talking about stabbing Ken Kennedy.
Oh, really?
Mr. Kennedy. I sent it to you, I thought.
You might have. The thing is, you have to say things and it'll jog a memory. Like that's just
right.
That's why sometimes I accidentally cut in and I'm like, oh, I remember that because legitimately you triggered a thought.
And he's done other parodies on guys in TNA, which are just hilarious. Like I said, I'll send you some stuff. I'm sure you'll look it up yourself because I think I just opened a fucking can of worms with you where you're like, I want to know everything about this motherfucker.
Joe Hendry did a Miley Cyrus wrestling entrance parody and he entered to it.
Yep.
At the Insane Championship Wrestling, he was in ICW. That's cool.
Yep.
That company's been around a little while, ain't it?
I think a little bit, yeah. But he mentioned how in like his first 3 years of wrestling, he got to wrestle Kurt Angle. Through means of like, I don't know the full story, but he did mention in an interview he did recently where he's like, the people wanted to get Kurt Angle and they couldn't, and he's like, I can get you Kurt Angle. And he's like, here I am in an arena facing Kurt Angle with my family in the back. Like, how did we get here?
It was for Defiant Wrestling, bro.
WCPW still, I think, at that time.
Yeah, they re-released it though as Defiant, I do believe.
Right. They What Culture Pro Wrestling rebranded as Defiant Wrestling, especially after the WWE launched the UK brand. Completely killed the UK indie scene because they were on fire. The UK indie scene was on fire at one point.
That's why WWE went there.
Exactly. And they scooped up all the talent they could and killed off pretty much any real developing competition out of there.
And that was while Vince was still in charge, correct?
Correct. But I think Triple H had a bit part to do in that. Like, I think he might have been like, hey, you see how good these UK guys are.
The announce team's weird for What Culture at least the video I'm watching or I saw pop up, it appeared to be Jim Cornette and Jim Ross.
Yep, they called the Joe Henry Angle match. They weren't there all the time, but they were special guests at one point for their pay-per-view.
Who is the announcers of What Culture? Just people from the YouTube channel?
Again, it's been forever, but I think it started with guys from the YouTube channel were doing the play-by-play and shit. And then that changed because they didn't know what they were doing, and they admitted that much. And they had a lot of their YouTube storylines playing out on camera for What Culture Pro, which I thought was kind of a neat tie into everything. Like you got this big eye on your internet product. Why not use it on your wrestling product to get more eyes? So.
Who was that dude with What Culture? He became a wrestler. He did
Simon Miller.
He was bald and he did
Simon Miller. He's still wrestling.
Yeah. What's his big gimmick? He did something other than hitting his head. There was something.
Why?
Yeah.
Because he does a series on What Culture called the Why series. Why? Here's why. And that became his shtick. Which good for him again.
I've actually been following What Culture since I want to say when they started, because I remember you had that one guy that got taken off there due to some alleged sexual misconduct stuff, which I miss him.
Well, okay, so I know what you're talking about. Just so we're very clear, you're talking about Adam Blampier. Him, Ross Twiddell, who was King Ross, Jack the Jobber, Adam Bachidi, all of them left What Culture to start Cultaholic.
Okay.
And then as they were about to launch, some shit came out that he was being a little inappropriate with some people, and nothing charged against him or anything, but there was some inappropriate conversations. He left. Then he started working for Wrestle Talk, and then some other shit happened, and he had to take time off there as well. It's fucked up that I know all this like I said, I keep track of wrestling, so I keep track of everything that's going on.
He was so good though. All the allegations.
His booking videos.
I'm not
his booking videos were fucking great.
Allegations because they didn't go to court, so we don't know what actually happened. We're just basing off of two sides of a different story. I don't deny that it could have happened, but I don't say that it did. I don't know.
Again, from what I heard, the story was that he was asking fans for inappropriate shit, like using his fame to kind of sway some people, but nothing god awful. You know what I mean? Nothing he should have done jail time for, but he was in a relationship and was. So it's like morally, it wasn't right.
Did they provide screenshot evidence? Not saying that evidence matters, but
I don't know. I don't know. I don't go that deep into it.
I'm weird though when it comes to things. A lot of people hate me for it, but I'm I need I can't just take.
I want the evidence.
I don't want to take because I've been wrongfully accused of shit that I didn't do, and I had evidence that I was.
Yeah.
The situation was fucked up, but it wasn't what they were saying it was in some of the situations. And others,
did you hear?
Lied.
Since we're talking about this topic, did you hear about the Twitch streamer who's in a lot of hot water right now? The Dr. Disrespect.
I heard about one guy who he was into really fucked up shit.
Apparently, there was a big Twitch streamer guy by the name of, I believe it was Dr. Disrespect or something like that, admitted to having inappropriate conversations with a minor.
Yeah, then he should be locked up.
Twitch banned him. He's lost all his endorsement deals. His whole fucking world is burning to the ground, but he's still got people defending what he did. And it's really? Really?
Also wild to me is there are exceptions to what I said earlier. If evidence is brought forward, but they still didn't go to court, then yes, I will judge them because I saw what happened.
Yeah.
There's a guy by the name of Davi Vanity. He is the singer of Blood on the
I know this, yes. Go ahead and tell the people who don't know, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Multiple minors have come forward and said that he groomed them. And he also manipulated them. And the man is still in the music industry under a different name.
there was one guy who, oh god damn it, I should remember what his name is, but he's in, I believe he's in prison now. God damn it, it was the lead singer of a big band. I forget the fuck. That
Ian
was it.
Watkins was the baby guy. He
Yeah, fuck him. I hope he died with a dick in his mouth.
Yeah. But yeah,
I'm sorry, but he had fucking women bringing their infant children to him to abuse. Like, no, I'm sorry. Fuck him. I hope he dies with a dick in his mouth.
No.
In the most unpleasant way he could fucking go.
I read that whole like court case, and because I don't, like I said, I don't judge people until I see all the evidence. But I heard what he was doing. I'm like, okay, I will distance myself from the music, because if this is actually true, I don't want to be a part of it. But if it's proven,
you don't want to support somebody who's doing horrible shit. Let's be honest. Like,
well, that case was so gruesome and disturbing.
It really was. And it makes you think, like, in all honesty, it's really weird how fucking sick and twisted people can be towards each other. It really is fucking sick.
Now, it didn't really hurt me in a physical sense the guy did that, because I hardly listened to their music. The only reason I knew of them was, honestly, there was a Jeff Hardy video of him diving off ladders and shit, and it was Standing on the Rooftops by Lost Prophets that they were playing. Standing on the rooftops, everybody scream, yo ho!
I love that fucking song. God damn it.
That's them.
I didn't know that was them. I did not know that was them.
That was them. That's where I first heard of them. And yeah. You know what that's the equivalent of, except the band didn't do fucked up shit. It's the other way around. Is
no, fuck. Oh god damn it. This, like I said, this podcast has gone to places I never thought we'd be going to be honest with you. This is fucking
dude. But the thing is like, I always want to remind people I'm not coming from a place of pure hatred or anything. These are all jokes. I'm just having fun. If you get offended by what I say, or you don't like what I say, maybe you're not my audience.
Yeah.
But I still love you and I still respect you. But I don't know what else to say, because I guess I feel like we shouldn't, like, if we offend people, cool, like people that we care about, people that we love, they should come to us and say, hey, that offended me. And then you can be like, oh, I'm sorry it happened that way. I'm sorry I'm just sorry what I said upset you. Like, I didn't, whatever the excuse is, or whatever the discussion is, or the apology is, or whatever you want to call it. Now, if you offend somebody that you don't give a shit about, should you really apologize if you know you weren't coming from a place of hate? That's just how they took you. That's their interpretation of the situation.
Yeah, Karen.
I don't know.
Sorry.
It's not that like I'm coming from anything that I've ever experienced in recent memory, but like, it's just a weird thought I've had. Like, yeah, it's genuine to be like, hey, I'm sorry, but are you really sorry? Because you're just going to turn around and say it again, just with them not around. Just
oh shit. Well, like I said, man, fucking the world's fucked up.
This is the part of the podcast where I get into the human condition, because the human condition is so weird, dude. I'm not saying that like go out and purposely hurt people, like, and offend people and shit, but like, if I walk around my entire life trying to not offend people, I might as well be a deaf mute.
Exactly. I agree with you on that. Now, again, I completely understand what you mean on that. We both have done stand-up, you a lot more than me, but as a stand-up, you see people just get offended over what is literally a joke.
When I'm on that stage, you cannot hold the me off stage responsible.
That's what I mean.
I am live entertainment. I am providing a form of entertainment similar to that of an actor.
Exactly.
On that stage is not a portrayal of me as a person. It is me saying shit that I think is funny, or real life events that I have turned funny.
Exactly. I'm the same way. Professional wrestling the same way. My job is to get people to hate me at points. So don't, like, I think the worst thing I ever said to somebody, and this lady laughed it off, so it didn't bother me one bit. I looked right at her and I told her, She's covered in tattoos. I said, your tattoos look like they were drawn by an autistic child.
As an autistic child, I am offended.
Well, again, this is coming from someone with cerebral palsy and shit like that too. So it's like, you know, there is there absolutely is a line to some things, but at the same time, you kind of have to it's touch and go. Like, I remember I did a show, and I know I'm going to get crucified for admitting all this. There was a kid sitting front row, was booing me. I looked right at. Thank you for making me big screen for this part.
You're welcome.
Kid sitting there with his dad, and I looked right at him and I said, "Your father doesn't love you. You're adopted."
What if that was?
And I look at the kid, and the kid is like all pissed and mad. The dad is crying, laughing. And that makes me happy when I can piss off the kids, but the dad's like, okay, I get what you're doing, and this is fucking great.
That's the thing, though, is people tend to remember that about wrestling, but they forget about that with comedy.
Mm-hmm.
We are portraying either over-exaggerated versions of ourselves, or we are taking fucked up situations and trying to make them funny. And you as the audience can either say, hey, you shouldn't joke like that, or I don't agree with joking like that, or I do, but you shouldn't judge one story on the entire comedian's way of making you laugh, because I've seen comedians I didn't agree with one thing they said, but the whole act was fucking golden.
Yep. I think Brad Williams said it best, and I enjoy Brad Williams as a performer. He's great. He did say during one of his bits, if you are going to come to a show, pay money to come to a show, buy 2 drinks, and get offended at what a midget tells you, kill yourself. I'm like, okay, maybe you went a little far with the end in there, but I completely get what you're saying. It's like, you have no right to get upset. The whole idea is you're there to see a performer, and if the performer, especially if they're known for pushing the boundaries on things, like, then you knew what you were paying the ticket for.
Like I tell people all the time, me on podcasts is kind of more of a personal view of me, but I am still the comedian because I'm still trying to entertain. So I will throw in a joke of shit that I don't agree with, whatever, here and there.
Yeah.
And you'll hear my seriousness come out. You will know by the tone of my voice or whether or not I'm laughing. But people don't understand that.
Yeah. Because sometimes people hyper-focus on one thing or another thing, and they don't see the full scale of what you're talking about.
And it's crazy because 9 times out of 10, I'm not saying all the time, sometimes I do go overboard. I go across the line, and I have to apologize because I genuinely didn't mean it that way, and I probably shouldn't have said it. However, there are times when I make a joke, and then somebody's insecurity comes out. I shouldn't have to apologize for somebody else's insecurity.
I think Daniel Tosh has a great bit where he talks about Brad Pitt and somebody having a kid. It's like 2 really hot guys, and he's like, I don't want to say this, but I think I want to fuck that baby. And everybody's like, oh, it's like, yes, be offended because I want to fornicate with a fake child that could not exist.
Plus, he's the right size. Sorry, that was a fucked up joke. All right. Moving on.
Oh, shit, dude. This whole night's just gone fucking from place to place like crazy.
Brad fucking Williams is a genius because of one joke. He said, the best thing about fucking a little person instead of a normal sized person, or a little person fucking a normal sized woman, is you don't have to get on your knees for doggy.
It's like you haven't lived until you've been fucked doggy style standing up, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and then he's like, I was fucking this one girl, and she said, fuck me, Willy Wonka, so I went to the chocolate factory.
Yeah, I remember one of his bits he talked about is like, she's like, ooh, I want to paint you blue. And he's like, get the fuck out. And then the lady got naked. I started off as Grumpy Smurf, ended up at Happy Smurf, and by the end of the night, she was calling me Papa Smurf.
I guess the issue with comedians and the rest of society, and I think I kind of get it, is some people in society take life way too seriously and don't view it as the comedy that it is, because they take their misery and they hold on to it so hard that anything that questions that misery makes them more miserable, instead of using that misery as comedy and just laughing at what we was dealt at life. Like you make your cerebral palsy and all the things about you. Other people would cry if somebody joked about it.
In all honesty, and it's funny you mention that, because I was talking to my wife. We have a stand-up performance gig coming up for our L Strength and Conditioning on July 24th at the Hidden Hill Event Center.
I have a show too. I have a show coming up, dude. I have July, what is it, 13th or 14th? It's Saturday. It is July it'd be 16th. Hold on. No, 13th. It's July 13th. It is OVDJ Summer Bash, Summer Fest. One of the
you were telling me about that.
And then we have
yes. So I was talking to my wife, and I said, I don't know how I'm going to word this. I don't know how I'm constructing it, but I do want to mention this on stage.
Don't hear you, man.
No, I'll say a little bit here because it's not going to be the same thing. I don't know how I'm instructed, but somehow I'm going to make fun of the fact that nobody will book the cripple in a ladder match.
I have an idea.
Shit.
We need to get a wrestler that's in a wheelchair, and we need to have a ladder match.
We're fucked up. We're so fucked up, dude.
Cripple fight.
I'm surprised no promotion has tried to promote that yet.
They're thinking about it. Let's be honest.
I've seen one-legged wrestlers. I've seen wrestlers with cerebral palsy, myself being one of them. But I've never seen anybody promote tonight, Saturday, at blah, 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 cripple fight. Sells itself.
Cripple death match. You're already halfway there.
A cripple death match. Whoever can finish the job wins. Okay.
Oh my god! It's a fucking crutch on a pole match. It's a fucking.
I was supposed to get up there. That's the fun part.
I have an idea.
Oh shit! Here we go.
You versus Draws, and a Zach Gowen's leg on a pole match. Book it.
That's fucked up. That's so fucked up.
You know Draws.
Honestly, you know what? We were talking, actually, one of the guys you mentioned earlier in the podcast, if there was anybody on the indies I wouldn't mind having some in-ring time with, and I wouldn't mind wrestling a wrestler by the name of Gregory Irons, who, again, has cerebral palsy, like I do. There can only be one.
The loser is the only wrestler with cerebral palsy. The winner is the only one. You need to have a cripple belt. You need to.
The cerebral palsy world champ. We're going to hell.
It's only half of a belt. It's only.
We're going to hell. We're going to hell. There's Satan right now is sitting there going, "Damn, I don't have a punishment worse enough for these motherfuckers."
Oh, I don't worship the devil, but we homies.
I get what you're trying. All I can think of is that scene from Little Nicky where the two guys died and got his room.
That is fucking hilarious. That movie is probably one of the best,
underrated Adam Sandler classic. I really believe that.
Very underrated. Ozzy Osbourne was in it. Rodney Dangerfield was in it.
Ozzy Osbourne. Oh, I fucking love that movie.
I mean, fucking, who else was in that movie? There's a lot of them. Henry Winkler played himself getting stung by bees.
Yep.
What's his name? John Lovitz is in it. He plays the pervert that's up in the tree.
And again, to tie everything into wrestling a little bit, I loved Stone Cold's performance in Grown Ups 2.
You know what my favorite wrestling cameo of all time was? It was probably Randy Savage in Spider-Man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You got you for 3 minutes.
The fact that Jay Lethal didn't use the name Bonesaw instead of Black Machismo, I was offended. Like,
Bonesaw Machismo sounds badass.
Yes. Somebody book it.
TNA when fucking Ron Killings used to call himself the Black Superman, and she was fucking hilarious.
What's that Ron Killings?
Oh no, it wasn't Black Superman. He called himself the Suntan Superman. He called himself the Suntan Superman.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, because back then he was
God.
doing cool flippy moves in the X division, so he's called the Suntan Superman. He'd come out like, "I'm the Suntan Superman, Ron Killings." It's in the song "What's Up."
Yeah, I've seen on the indies at least 2 or 3 different guys who've called themselves the Black Superman. So
Yeah, but the Suntan Superman fucking rhymes, dude. He's got bars.
that's true. R-Truth really should have released an album by now. The dude's hilarious.
They teased one in TNA, and a lot of people kind of forget that. He was teasing one when he was feuding with John Cena, when he was like talking bad about Cena. He's like, "You have You Can't See Me? Well, I have You Can't Stop Me." And he was promoting an album, You Can't Stop Me.
They should have come out with it.
It never happened. He released singles for it. You can find them on YouTube, like all of his songs, but like not the whole album never was released. It's hard to find it. Freaking because they kind of buried that shit under history. But like, there's a lot of wrestling moments that I remember, but they're hard to find. But you can find little bits and pieces.
Right, little snippets where you're like, "Oh yeah, I remember that happening." Like, how many times has the guy won a world title or won a championship, and then like 6 months later, you're like, "Oh, I completely forgot he was champion, or he had ever won the belt." Like, who really remembers Ezekiel Jackson as Intercontinental Champion?
Nobody.
Or the fact that Ezekiel Jackson, forever and for more, and I'm not just trying to pick on the one guy, but he's the best example, is forever known as the last ECW champion. Well, WWECW champion. But, like, little things are like, "Oh, yeah, I forgot that was even a thing."
You know who they should have done a lot more with?
Mae Young?
No, the things I would have done to that woman, we would have given her a beautiful hand, but no. Both gimmicks he had, by the way, should have been over. WWE had 2 shots with this guy, and both of them got ruined. First, Mordecai.
Yeah. Mordecai being the inverted Undertaker kind of thing could have had legs. It could have.
Added another flavor. You could find out that he's the third brother. You can find out like something. Like it could have been part of the Undertaker's mystique, and they could have formed a new ministry, the Light in the Dark. Call themselves the Yin Yang of the ministry. Bro, Yin Yang ain't nothing to fuck with. The Undertaker.
Personally, yeah, call him Old Dirty Taker. Personally, I liked him better as Kevin Thorne. There was something about the vampire gimmick that was unique because it had been forever since, and apparently Gangrel was supposed to be brought in to be a part of that whole thing.
I heard, man.
Yeah, something like that. So like it had been long enough, and it was being done so differently that I think it could have gone farther than they took it, if you know what I mean.
And if you look at the period, what year was that when Kevin Thorne was in WWE?
Like 2008, 2007, 2008.
If you look at the history, though, when Gangrel was introduced on during the Attitude Era, look at what was going on culturally. You had the ending of the Satanic Panic.
And you had a lot of rebel people going, "Fuck the establishment."
Yeah, and you had Gangrel, who he was very gothic. He was a vampire. The end of Satanic Panic, which vampires were kind of closely involved. Yeah, they kind of mentioned
they're added to the group of people.
Yeah, and here's why though, because a lot of satanic people, and I don't mean as an evil like worship, and even the people that worship Satan, that's different. But like
I know a lot of vampire people. They suck, but they're pretty nice people.
I fucking hate you. No, the Bible, the Satanic Bible should mention vampires, but it's not a physical way. It's more of a mental vampire. Like some people are just mental vampires to you. They
Yeah.
suck your energy. Well, that became sort of the end of that big panic. So they enter Gangrel. It was kind of a social kind of like, I believe anyway, it was kind of a social like, will society accept this? They did the
No.
same thing back in the day with fucking the Temple of Doom.
Now, let me say this right now. With the Attitude Era and everything, one of the worst things that ever came out of the Attitude Era, in my opinion, was the Ministry of Darkness. Not because it was a bad gimmick or anything like that. It's because ever since then, you have had nothing but knockoff fucking takers and knockoff ministry groups trying to recreate that in some way, shape, or form. And the only one that has done anything unique with a similar theme is the Wyatts. They completely did that dark motif, but in a way that you hadn't seen done before. But if you look through the indies, through WWE, through TNA, through any of them, all those dark gimmicks is a reason everybody compares them to the Ministry.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
Didn't the Ministry arise after the Dungeon of Doom, making the Dungeon of Doom the first really dark cultist, like on the big screen?
The real first person to ever do the cult, dark evil cult thing, and I just watched someone talking, Jim Cornette, say his name again, was talking about this. He was talking about what was his name? Kevin Sullivan. Because like
that's the Dungeon of Doom.
Well, yeah, but even before the Dungeon of Doom, in the late 70s, early 80s, he was doing the cult stuff where they never said, "Oh, you worship Satan," but they would talk in tongues, and he would have freaking ceremonies, dark ceremonies, and all this. And apparently, they lived that because it was at the time where people needed to believe what you were doing was real. So they really thought he was a chicken sacrificing, devil worshipping Satanist.
Do you know why they released that though? I'm going to go back to the same reason they brought Gangrel out though. That was the beginning of the Satanic Panic.
Yeah.
1970 when
and they played on it.
And they played on it because pretty much Kevin Sullivan, they didn't come out and say this, but Kevin Sullivan was supposed to be kind of like, they took the Crow character from the movie from Sting. That was what they did back then with Anton LaVey. They took what he was doing in practice and made it a lot more evil and like commercialized, and they brought in.
And that's the thing with wrestling too. They try to have a pulse on like the culture of the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if for example, Steve Austin was the embodiment of that rebel spirit of the 90s. Fuck you, we're sick of this shit, blah, 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 blah. And I feel like now, because everybody's so worried about being the best, that label of the best, that's the kind of culture we exist in now, where if you're not the best, you don't do this shit. You know what I mean?
So Kevin Sullivan started doing the occultist cult leader shit in 1982. However, it was inspired by the Satanic Panic caused by Anton LaVey, and he loosely based his character on the likeness and talking pattern of Anton LaVey. If you rewatch, he had that beard and he was bald.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even he did that gimmick so well that people to this day think he killed Chris Benoit because he's a Satanist and getting revenge is their whole shtick. Not me saying this. This is what I've heard people say about Kevin Sullivan. Whatever floats your boat, don't be hurting people, whatever. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. These are just what I've heard.
Well, what's weird about, I've heard that too, but what's weird about that era is they based this character who worships the devil, whatever they wanted to have him be. However, that's what people assumed. His character never said that they did all this shit.
Yeah.
The listener assumed, because he was basing his whole mindset back then. He had a copy of the Satanic Bible. He followed it so that he could play the gimmick. They did not believe in human sacrifice, any of that shit. They used the wording though of sacrifice, not sacrificed, but like if people are ruining your life or they're not a good part of your life, you destroy them or sacrifice them, which means not in a physical sense, in a mental sense, they no longer exist in your life.
Since we're talking about cultish characters in wrestling, let's talk about Raven.
Raven was amazing. He was the best.
He was that gimmick, that satanic panic kind of gimmick, modernized for the 90s because he was the grunge cult leader, and it fits so perfectly. And to this day, the fact that he gotten so much shit for crucifying Sandman, then turn around and Austin's getting crucified on Monday Night Raw and no one said shit.
And that was the night Angle debuted on Monday.
Well, no, Angle was supposed to debut for ECW. He was supposed to wrestle for ECW originally.
That's what I was saying. He was supposed to debut in ECW. He crucified Sandman, and then his first night in WWE, they crucified.
Was that his first night? I'd have to look it up. I'm not sure if that was his first night, but you're right. It's a double standard. It's really fucked up, I think. But he didn't crucify Austin. He put him on his symbol, which just so happens to be a giant T.
Which, even if they had the budget, we all know ECW didn't have the budget. They're using 2x4s.
Apparently, Sandman made it in his garage. Like, the story was Sandman made it in his garage. Like, it was something they all agreed to do. And even Sandman was like, it's bullshit that people got pissed about it.
Sandman is pretty much ECW's Florida man. Like, he shows up drunk as shit.
He's Florida man embodied, yes.
He shows up drunk as shit, just throwing shit. And just.
I've always looked at, like, everybody's like, oh, Sandman's a heart. I've always looked at Sandman like he's your drunk dad who sits there and watches wrestling and goes, I could do that shit.
And he did.
Even though he can't. He'll go out there and try. But, like, even Sandman has admitted, when it comes to his in-ring shit, he's god-awful. But his persona and the energy and the way the crowd would react when Enter Sandman would come out, like, oh my God.
You know what?
People today wish they could get reactions like Sandman got in 95, 96, 97.
Even at One Night Stand.
Yeah.
One Night Stand.
I'm still pissed that it's so hard to find the version of him coming out to Metallica.
Because that adds to the fucking amazing shit. And what I hated is the fact WWE took the Sandman gimmick because he had to go by Hardcore Hack for a while.
And in WCW.
And that made him sound like he was a hack. Like he's not a, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of a negative. How did he get the Sandman name back though? Because he wrestled in TNA as Sandman.
I think what it was in ECW, he was the Sandman. The original gimmick was he was a surfer.
Uh-huh.
And then he became the Sandman that we all recognize him as. And when he went to WCW, I think there was some legal shit, and they were like, okay, we can't call you Sandman because of this, or this. But I think at one point he did buy the rights to his name.
There was probably part of his contract of if he came back to ECW on Wednesdays or whatever it was, he gets the rights to his name. It could have been that kind of a deal.
Hard to say because I ain't a lawyer and I wasn't in the meetings, but the fact that he went from being the Sandman in ECW, had a WWE run, which could have been better, could have been a lot worse, and then his TNA runs were just kind of, he was there, but he was still the Sandman. Like, that aura is something that will never be recreated as much as people want it to be.
Well, I mean, the closest we got was Stone Cold.
Oh, yeah, and a lot of people would say to this day, Austin's a poor man's Sandman, but I don't know about that much, but I've heard people talk about it like that.
Sandman. Perhaps Sandman's had more bail than fucking...
Sandman has done more drugs.
Sandman had a finishing move, though, and only hardcore fans know that. He had two of them.
Yep. Yeah.
Do you know what they were?
I believe one was a leg drop onto a ladder.
That was his... It was classified as his what was the move that you would do before a finishing move?
There was a signature.
That was his signature move.
It was the White Russian leg sweep, I thought was his finish, where he take the Singapore cane and do a Russian leg sweep.
Yep, but his other finisher, and he's ended a couple matches with it, is a Swanton bomb on top of a chair with his opponent on it, underneath of it.
Okay, so we're talking about crazy fucking shit we see in wrestling. Like, I watched a dude, he went for a flying headbutt and before he jumped off the top rope, he took a towel and lit his head on fire. Like, some of the things people come up with, man.
I don't even want to see his search history. Like if he's doing that in public, like I don't.
I've seen, there was one I saw, dude did a freaking Falcon Arrow into like light tubes and forks. Like the forks were on a board and they were standing straight up, and like just some of the shit. And I watched one thing and it pissed me off. And I saw people were like complimenting these guys, but they were just doing shit off ladders, into other ladders, out of the ring, fucking ladders flying everywhere. And I'm like, they're going to fucking hurt themselves. Like, I don't mind pushing envelopes, guys, but at one point the envelope rips.
Here's one that you might have forgot. I'm sorry to I was listening to what you said, but this is a gimmick that we all forgot. A lot of us forgot. Sandman had a gimmick between the Surfer Sandman and the kendo stick wielding Sandman.
Okay.
This is a long lost gimmick, but it was legit. He was a pimp. He bought woman. And woman was his manager for a while. Well, he came out.
I will say that it is a tragedy that her name cannot be properly recognized as one of the greatest females in wrestling. I'm talking about woman, who was Nancy Benoit.
You know what's
because
really sad is
they can't talk about her without talking about what happened to her, and that's just a fucking shame.
Well, it's also fucked up because in wrestling, like her stage name is a woman, which was supposed to be demeaning because she was the manager of Kevin Sullivan and women don't matter. Like it doesn't matter.
I think she was Dark Angel at that point, and she became woman when she went to ECW.
Oh, okay.
And even when she was in WCW, she was woman, I think, when she was managing Flair.
That just seems kind of, it might not have been meant that way, but it seems kind of demeaning to me though.
I think she was, if anything, if you watch her shit in ECW, she was the boss. She was woman. She is like, I'm the one in charge. I'm the one who fucking writes the checks and fucking makes the deals. Like, she was the boss.
See, I gotta watch that because I didn't really keep up with 92.
Look up any shit she did with Sandman. She had that vibe of it. Yeah, he's my fucking, he won the title and he's the big bad wrestler, but I'm the one who pulls on his leash.
But like he played a pimp. Pretty much.
Like I said, it never came off that way to me. It came off that to me like she was the one in charge and he was the one that was taking orders from her.
Okay, I misread. He didn't buy woman. It was a different. I was misreading two storylines. Woman came in, was his manager. All right, and then I'm gonna fuck up this guy's name. Tommy Caro. He insinuated that Sandman was sleeping with Peaches. And Sandman said that Caro owed him $25 a romp and began demanding Caro to pay his bills.
Fucking crazy.
So,
man, the 90s were nuts.
And then he started beating the fuck out of Michael P. Fay.
Well, see, like, I love how today, right now, like back in the day, like you'd have guys fighting over women and, you know, all this other shit. Right now, you have a storyline with Liv Morgan basically being Dominic Mysterio's stalker, and it's fucking fantastic.
But I'd like
Oh, absolutely. And I've even mentioned the only way I want this storyline to end. Some people are like, "Oh, it's going to be Rhea's coming back, and they're going to feud." Dominic is going to end up with both of them, and when that happens, give him the world title because he's already won it life.
Latino heat. Latino. I got two mamacitas.
I got uno mamacita and dos mamacita.
He needs to get a third one so he can name them Lie, Cheat, and Steal.
Man, it's getting fucking late. Holy shit. I just saw what time it was. We're good.
Bro, the fucking tag team is Lie, Cheat, Steal. You have Liv, who lies, and then you can have like Rhea steal some shit, and then have, you know, because Dominic's married. I know they all
Oh,
are.
so is Ripley apparently now. She married Buddy Matthews.
He has an old school name, like one of them old school wrestler names, like Buddy Matthews. Like
But he's running. He's doing the whole House of Black thing, and I think it's hilarious. It's like you're this demon cult member. Your name's Buddy.
yeah, I'm Buddy Matthews. Like change your name, dude. That's like I'm doing a bit in my act about a guy, and I'm not going to go into the full bit because it'll give it away. But like, he had a weird name for something that was supposed to be like taken seriously. So he legally changed the name, I assume, so that it more resembles what he stands for. But if he kept his original name, that'd be fucking hilarious. But Buddy Matthews just kept with it. Was that his name, Buddy Matthews?
I believe. Yeah, I believe that is his name. Currently, is Buddy Matthews.
Man,
he's with Malachi Black and the House of Black and all them guys in AEW.
Welcome to Malachi Blacks and the House of Black. I got our member Buddy Matthews. What it sounds like to me is like they need to plan this a little more. Have all them guys wearing all the black that they wear, and then have Buddy Matthews wearing a suit, tie, like just fucking.
To be honest with you, and again, making this perfectly clear, so I'm going to get real close. This is a joke. Do not get offended. Warning. The fact that they don't call it the House of African American is wrong.
That is very wrong because the House of... It would be weird if they were a Spanish group. That's all I'm saying.
I actually... Okay, not even kidding. There was a dude that I used to do shows with who changed his name to the Spanish word for black specifically because he wanted to make the ring announcer say it.
Is his name like the Black Panther or like what's his?
He currently goes by the name of Christian Noir, and Noir again being another word for black. But he was going by Christian. I'm not going to say it, but
just look
the
at
Spanish word for black.
On, they'll do
it. The Spanish word for black, and my brother asked him one time, it's like, did you pick that name specifically to make the ring announcer feel awkward? He's like, yes.
Did you see the name of that football player that everybody's like freaking out about? I would love to see Rich White announcer say this name. He's legit. He's signing to college football. Here he is. The one, the only. He's infamous. He's going places. You can say that you know. You can tell your family that you know him. Here he is. This is that Noah guy. Noah. Do you know Noah? Let me bring it up. Why ain't it working? Oh, there it is. Do you know this guy? His name is Noah. He's a football player. He wrestles. He's in college. He might sign.
I'm not saying that.
He might sign to the big leagues. Come on, it's his name.
You better say the K with it. That's all I'm going to say. I ain't saying it.
It's probably spelled like knife.
That's what I'm worried about. Okay, I hate to end it on this note, but man, my kids mean something.
It's okay. But who's your favorite football player? Noah. I'm just kidding.
My favorite football player is Big Van Vader. Thank you very much, because it's the only person I know who played football.
Bill Goldberg.
Yeah, but really,
The Rock.
Really though, yeah, Rock was never major league.
Brock
Lesnar. He did play on the Vikings, didn't he?
It was the Vikings or the Dolphins.
Something like that.
But go ahead and take care of your little one. And we're almost at 2 hours, guys. That was Pink Sock. Go ahead and
quick plug, real quick, if you don't mind.
Plug it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Pink Sock Army, the Pink Sockers themselves, I've been pushing this for the last month or so now. Tomorrow is the day. Tomorrow is the day where I take the hopes and dreams of one Tyler Grayson and I break his hopes. I break his dreams. I make him wish he was never born. I make him feel like he's that goddamn big, because compared to me, he is. How dare he think he can step to me? How dare he think he can take what's mine? It's going to be me versus Tyler Grayson for the MVP Masters Championship in the Charleroi Market House in Charleroi, Pennsylvania. 6 p.m. start time for MVP Wrestling. Don't miss it.
Damn, dude, you got real exciting there. I'll be.
Oh yeah, because tomorrow's the day, man. Tomorrow's the day, and I'm just.
Unfortunately for me, I do work tomorrow, but I will be there in spirit.
Boo.
I'll be there in spirit. Unfortunately, I took these 2 days off. I was off. Don't diamond cutter me, please. I'm not into yoga. But I. By the way, the best cutter of all time was DDP. I'll leave.
Damn right. Damn right.
His was perfect. Like, yeah, Randy's is out of nowhere, but Dally's was like he was reversing moves and shit with it. Like
Diamond Dallas Page was the first one to have a cutter out of nowhere because it was the diamond cutter. It was out of nowhere. You could do it to anybody.
Yeah, like my favorite cutter was either like the choke slam cutter, like he kind of did, or like when he's behind the guy and the guy does, like a power slam and he like swiggles out and fucking hits it.
Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful move.
Randy Savage. Was it Randy Savage?
Yeah, he did that. The one he gave Scott Hall was great when they thought he was going to join the NWO.
Yeah. Dude.
All right, brother.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
The Stone Cold Stunner on Scott Hall was probably the craziest stunner I ever fucking seen in my life.
Him and The Rock. The Rock always knew how to make the stunner look amazing.
He stunnered that motherfucker into a new company. Like it's he fucking stunned him so hard he ended up on Impact. But anyway, y'all have a good night. And as always, live long, rock hard. Make sure you subscribe, you like all that shit. Go to useNick.com. If you don't use Nick, you'll lose Nick. And check out MVP Wrestling for all your latest events. Love y'all and good night.
All hail the Black Sheep, baby.
Yeah.